Hey everybody, welcome to January 3rd, 2025. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Always good to see you guys. So it's just going to be a brainstorming video. The Heaven's Gate cult. I'm not going to be discussing the end result of everything that happened. I'm not going to be discussing the unaliving. I'm finding through my research on this cult that there's a heavy focus on the gore. And that's not really what I'm after. I'm just here to make comparisons between cults and the mental health industry. And lo and behold, I found one. Okay. So let's talk about the Heaven's Gate cult. The men castrated themselves. They chose a life of celibacy, and I think they wanted to like suppress some of those urges. Um, so they tried castrating themselves on their own, and it was like really painful. But then they like maybe I think, if I remember correctly, they went to Mexico and got castrated there. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I just watched this video of one of the gentlemen talking about his castration. It like made me cry. I feel so bad that there are people who get caught up in this stuff, and I think mental health. I'm not saying mental health is trying to do. I'm not saying that the mental health industrial complex is trying to unalive us. I think there's a lot of active measures taken to prevent people from doing that. However, the mental health industry does focus a lot on suicidal people. They're a target group for a lot of this stuff, and so are people in these cults. So, but my thing about the castration was that people now in everyday life in the mental health industrial complex are being encouraged to castrate themselves as part of a treatment program. So, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of controversy about it. Now, me personally, I'm a very religious person. So, in that regard, I do have some opinions. But at the end of the day, I let God be the judge. And I know all different kinds of people, and I'm obviously not going to judge them. So, you be you. Just be very mindful that the mental health industrial complex may not have your best interest at hand. And I am a frequent flyer at the mental hospital, and I've seen things. I think the mental hospital is a really safe place to like come down from your psychosis, or whatever mental health issue that you're dealing with if you have an event or something. But the industry itself, like the therapies, that's kind of what I'm attacking. Okay. So cult leaders believe that they are the only answer. They have all the answers. Well, mental health does the same thing. They believe that they are 100% correct, but they're not. As a matter of fact, Marshall Applewhite from Heaven's Gate, he was hospitalized for homosexuality. That was considered a mental disorder back then, and it was fact. Obviously, they've discontinued that belief because it's not true. But who's to say that other things aren't true and they're being promoted as fact? So I think the homosexuality thing is a good thing to focus on. I'm going to write that down because that is an example of something that has been called out as BS. You're not crazy if you're gay. I mean, I get it, like last year in 2024, I talked a lot about my bisexuality, and I kind of got the Christian fist came down on me. But it's cool, man. I'm a happily married woman. I don't need to be, I don't know. We'll get into that sometime again, I'm sure. I have a friend that I really want to take to a gay bar, so so that'll be an adventure. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, the medical and mental health industrial complex are in fact encouraging gender reassignment, and people are now coming out and saying that they regretted it and they're doing it to kids. That's another thing is like I think that cults, like I said before, they all focus on like one type of person. In Heaven's Gate, it was like computer nerds, smart people. And I've been watching their exit videos and I can no longer. It's the saddest shit I have ever seen in my life. It is so hard to watch somebody defend something. Okay, and let's talk about Marshall Applewhite's psychosis and his visions. Now, they believed like in alien abductions and stuff like that. And if you go back maybe a couple of years now, I talked about my experience with astral projection, and I 100% believe I was abducted by aliens. I'm not saying that is any way to function in life. Unfortunately, that comes with a lot of other things that are negative. And that's where the system is supposed to be helpful, and they can be. Medications are wonderful. People bash medications. I used to be really scared of them. I think what happens is that the system approaches it the wrong way. They try to medicate you for the wrong reasons, like such as crying. That happened to me. And here's another thing I found. Some professionals have speculated that Marshall Applewhite was schizophrenic, that he had schizophrenia. And I think the old school professionals kind of go towards that diagnosis because I have reoccurring psychosis, but I have ASH. I do not have schizophrenia. I've brought this up many times. I have bipolar 1, and that can come with psychosis. Because but I still experience those full-blown episodes. He also has some grandiose stuff that can be a bipolar thing. So I think and he had depression. So to automatically assume he had schizophrenia, in my opinion, just from what I've been learning about him, I don't know, I question that. And it's kind of making me question who's at the top of the mental health industrial complex. Do we got some crazy people working up there? Because back about 5 years ago, there was a young lady in Kalamazoo, Michigan, who was a psychiatric student. But I think she was at the level at the hospital at this point where she was calling the shots. She was making decisions. Well, it turns out she was in fact psychotic. And she was stalking this pastor from Grand Rapids. And she'd been making all these videos and sending them to him and stuff. And they unfortunately found her, she died. She died during a psychotic break, is basically what happened. So, all I'm saying, guys, is that you gotta be so careful in the mental health industrial complex. There might be crazy people working up there, and they're telling you what to do. And they might be saying crazy things. And, okay, let's talk about the BPD diagnosis for a second. Marsha Linehan was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And in this particular subset of the mental health system, there is this attitude that the professionals tell these BPD patients, don't tell the ER that you have BPD. Don't tell anybody, they won't understand, and they'll diagnose you as a schizophrenic. As if we're supposed to be scared or ashamed of that or something. Dude, if you have schizophrenia, more power to you, man. You're living with something a lot of people are never going to understand. So cult leaders believe they're the only answer. The mental health industrial complex, especially Marshall Linehan with her DBT, they believe they have the only answer. And another thing I wrote down, was that in BPD with DBT, they're trying to get you to reach a level of Zen. And in Heaven's Gate, they were trying to get you to this next level of existence, which in my opinion kind of sounds like at the astral dimension. Because I think just from like my religious, like my spiritual and psychotic experience standpoint, I think the astral realm is here. It's just kind of hiding, and we are connected to it. It's in the Bible. I did a video on it. So yeah, he had depression, heard voices. Oh, his name was Doe. It wasn't Bo. It was Doe, like Do Re Mi. So I also think that these cults, and I can really see it in this one. It makes me, I can't watch those people. I will start crying because I want to go save them all, you know? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I got emotional. Okay, another thing about these cult leaders that I found is kind of a theme with a lot of them is that they're obsessed with science fiction. And not to be rude to like the older generation, but back in your day, I even remember my dad being like, "Oh, it's science fiction." Like it was supposed to be really deep. Well, I'm a Trekkie, and I think Star Trek definitely tackled some pretty serious subjects over the years, but you guys, it ain't that deep, okay? I don't even like believe in outer space. That is my religious and personal opinion. I think there's water up there, and we're just in this like little thing, and it's just my belief. So they're kind of like becoming experts in something that doesn't exist, and I feel like that with the mental health industry a lot. Some of these people are becoming experts in things that I think with the right exposure and education over the years will be seen as not correct. So I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. And so I'm at 12 minutes and I gotta hurry up and get ready. So I guess with that, have a wonderful day and I will see you around. Bye.